welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual love journey and life journey with you in order to help you in your own life journey. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that great big bell icon so you're notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. So this is a very, 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 very special Indian fan edition of Asexualise, my asexual life. If you didn't already know, which you probably don't unless you're in my analytics or I've told you before on this channel, that a large proportion of my viewers are in fact Indian. In fact, sometimes Indian people take over the rankings in who watches my channel the most over USA people, which USA is a huge, huge country. So usually it goes between USA and India, and sometimes India takes over and then sometimes USA takes back over, and then you have like UK usually second or third. So most of the time USA and India are the top two and then the UK's third. So this is really, really surprising, but maybe not. So I'm going to go through in a moment why I love Indian guys so much, because I get asked this question all the time when I was, well, I'm not doing dating and relationships anymore at the moment, but I got asked this question all the time by guys I met, especially if they weren't Indian, but even if they were, like, why do you love Indian guys so much? They just didn't get it. So I am going to be talking all about this and what I love about Indian guys, because I know I've got so many fans on this channel and people just don't tend to understand. So I'm going to go through that in a moment. First of all, if you didn't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories book. If you haven't got a copy of this, go and get it, especially if you're Indian, because it does talk about my Indian asexual soulmate in this book. And it tells my very personal story. So please, please, please get a copy of that. Okay, I'm also the author of Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. So if you like superhero stories, real life ones, then go and grab a copy of that. It will help you if you've got anxiety or depression as well. It'll help you to heal and have a happier life. So yes, let's crack on. So I get asked this question all the time when I'm interested in a guy, especially if it isn't Indian, like, why do you love Indian guys so much? But even when I have an Indian guy that I'm messaging with and I say I believe I've got an Indian soulmate, they're like, why do you love Indian guys so much? And this is Indian guys asking about Indian guys, right? So I thought, because I've got such a huge following from India on this channel, that I would go through why I love Indian guys. So you know that it's not some made up thing or some random thing I've plucked out of thin air. It is a genuine attraction, and not just that, a connection. So in the UK, I think that Indian guys can get some stick, I've seen. So I've had quite a lot of Indian guys say to me that, you know, not a lot of women in the UK tend to like Indian guys. This is what some Indian guys have fed back to me in their feedback of their interactions with females from the UK. This might be for a number of reasons. Obviously, there are a lot of foreigners that want to come into the UK and they use marriage as a way of getting into the UK rather than actually loving the person. And so they will always try to go for the visa option, and marriage being the easiest, right? If you love someone, you don't do what's easy, you do what needs to be done to get the girl of your dreams, or whatever gender it is. But I'm going to be talking about Indian guys on here predominantly because I'm attracted to guys. However, I do still think Indian women, I love the dresses they wear. I do tend to think a lot of them are very warm and nice people. So, you know, I do still feel comfortable around Indian women, but not obviously romantically attracted to them or any type of attraction like that. So it's different. But yeah, so what do I love about Indian guys? So for me, my love of Indian guys all started back in 2014. And this was when I first found out I am asexual. And it was in that year that I had an interaction with a blogger who's Indian. We used to go on each other's blogs a lot, and he would literally come in my inbox and start messaging me via email, and he connected with me on Facebook. That's right, but I have had emails from him, but it was through Facebook. And he added me as a friend, and he was originally going to go to Canada. So if you don't know, that a lot of people that can't get into the UK, they always go to Canada as an alternative because it's much cheaper and easier to get in there, right? Obviously, I'm not in Canada. So if a guy really loves me, he would come over here because it wouldn't be about the place. It would be about the person, right? And he'd do whatever it takes. That's what I truly believe, because there are Indian guys in my city. There are people that can get into the UK, right? So so I just don't accept those excuses, right? So basically, yeah, so with Indians, some of them do come over to the UK and they use marriage as an option for getting into the UK for a visa rather than loving the person, like a lot of foreigners do, not just Indian guys. I've got a lot of experience of this, unfortunately. I don't do marriage, right? But yeah, it's well known, you know, it's the easy option. And they'll always say, oh, well, you know, stuff like, if you love me, if you want me over there and all this rubbish. It's like, it doesn't work like that, right? You don't sponge off a woman. I just totally believe it's wrong for any guy to approach a woman in a foreign country and expect to sponge off her. I think it's disgusting, to be quite frank with you, and not a very strong, manly thing to do, a good thing to do. I just think it's totally disgusting, right? He should get his own job and come over by his own accord, whatever ethnicity or background he has, or from wherever he is, right? But not every Indian guy's like that, obviously, because there's ones in my city, right? So what I actually love about Indian guys, I love their hair usually, because their hair, if I talk about facial features first, I love their hair. It's usually very, very beautiful, like chestnut brown hair. And I love, you know, that I can put my fingers through it and it just feels so good. I love their ears as well. They just got such beautiful ears. Their little earlobes are so cute and beautiful. This feeling of their skin is amazing. And so I just love it, right? I just think it's really beautiful. The color, I like colored skin. I find it very, very aesthetically beautiful, like a beautiful painting. And I just want to like stroke their skin and be, you know, I just love it so much. It's so beautiful, you know, so beautiful. I love their hands. I just love the way they look aesthetically. I really am attracted to clean shaven Indian guys, right? I don't get aesthetically attracted to guys with beards. And one of the reasons this video came about as well is because the early hours of this morning, I randomly got an Indian guy friend requested me on Facebook, and I said to him, like, how do we know each other? Like, how did you come across me? And he said to me that I'm straight and I support LGBT plus QI, you know, LGBTQIA plus people, but he's straight. In other words, he's not part of LGBT plus, right? And he said, but I support them, anyone in the spectrum, and I want to know more about asexuality. And it just came up as a Facebook suggestion, even though we haven't got any Facebook friends. And, you know, I can always use more support. We can always, as an asexual community, use more support. And then he just goes, oh, I'm Indian. I didn't tell him that I have a soulmate, I believe, who I knew from a past life who's Indian, which is another reason why I love Indian guys, right? But, you know, that's another story, part of the story. Anyway, I want to go back to this guy that I connected with through blogging. And it was a bit of a sad story because he was Indian and I had this connection with him. I had these really strong feelings for him. So he said about going to Canada, and then he said he might change his mind and come to the UK instead because I'm here, right? But he was all set to go to Canada, but obviously he has strong feelings for me. But it was disgusting what he said to me because one of my guinea pigs at the time, it was going into the vets and it was literally dying. And he messaged me and said, oh, yeah, text messaged me in a conversation saying, oh, yeah, but if I come over to the UK, I wouldn't want to die a virgin. In other words, he would have wanted me as his girlfriend and to have sex with other women, which was completely disgusting. So he was the first Indian guy, I believe, who broke my heart. There was also another Indian guy. So he was the first Indian guy that broke my heart from memory. And then there was another Indian guy who was on an Asexuality website, and he's asexual. He was the second guy who is Indian who broke my heart. But I just knew when I spoke to these guys that there was a connection with them like I hadn't experienced before with any other guy. There was like this feeling there. So that's when I began to really, really like Indian guys. I have to rewind back a bit to my college days and say there was some foreign people who were in my class, my personal assistance diploma class, and one of them was Asian, from memory, I think. But he turned out to be living in he turned out to be Middle Eastern, not actually Indian. But I used to have really strong bond with him, and he used to go to his country and bring me back gifts from his country. He once asked me to come to his flat, but I didn't want to because I thought he'll just want sex. And this was when I was back in college. This is when I was like 19 in birth certificate age, and even back then I knew I hated sex, and I was like thinking, if I go back to his flat, he'll want sex with me, and I can't do that because I just don't like it. I didn't know I was asexual back then, but obviously I was. But I didn't know the term or come across it then. Yes, it wasn't until 2014 I came across that. So yeah, so I found out since he's married with kids because I found him on LinkedIn. I don't know if it's 2 years ago now, and yeah, but he's in the Middle East, so I guess he's not Indian. But he said that he knew Arabic. Yeah, and I thought he said he was Asian, but yeah, I guess that covers different people. Anyway, so since my journey, like, I haven't actually had a date with an Indian guy ever. I haven't actually an official date, like one where an Indian guy's asked me on a date and we've actually gone on a date, and I haven't ever had an Indian boyfriend either, right? So as time's gone on and I spoke to more and more Indian guys, I realized I have this like soulmate connection. I have like I feel like I have like an ultimate Indian soulmate somewhere, and that I knew him from a past life, because when I'm around Indian guys, like I'm in Indian UK groups, not asexual groups, but I'm in one that's got like 12,000 Indian people in there, and I just feel like I'm home. It's really familiar to me. It's like it's his home. There's men and women posted in there, but predominantly guys a lot of the time. But there are, a lot of them are couples. I don't, I just try and be helpful in there. I'm not going after anyone in there. I just try. There are times when I've tried to private message a few guys from there, but like, I just be in there and be helpful because I don't want to get kicked out of the group. I just appreciate being in there because it's like being at home, it feels comfortable, feels like I'm meant to be around Indian people, and it just feels really good for my soul. And that's the difference between Indian guys, when I connect with Indian guys, and any other guy from any other country usually. Obviously there's been one guy that I did love who wasn't Indian last year, but that's very unusual for me. Usually it's always Indian guys that I get the most strongest feelings for and love implicitly if I'm going to do that, So I can get attracted to, guys from other countries, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan as well. But for me, Indian guys are just beautiful, like the most aesthetically beautiful, but I don't like beards. I can't stand beards. So but if they're just my friend, an Indian guy friend, it doesn't matter. Like this guy who just connected with me recently, he's not looking to get me as a girlfriend. He's not talking anything about relationship stuff to me whatsoever. He's not talking any disgusting stuff. He's literally just wants to be my friend, learn a bit more about asexuality, and just like chat from time to time, I'm guessing. Like he spoke to me a little bit, but that was it basically. So it's really nice because there's none of that sexual rubbish going on from him, even though he's not asexual. So that's really good. He looks really nice without facial hair, but he loves his beard. And I just like, in terms of aesthetics, it doesn't matter because we're just friends and it's not going to go down relationship route or anything like that. But I have to say, I do love the qualities of his personality in terms of like, he doesn't give a FCUK what anyone thinks about him sticking up and supporting LGBT plus people. And so that's the type of guy I need for a relationship, in the sense, not him personally, but what I need in a relationship. I need a guy to be very, very strong and literally not care what the world thinks or other people think, and support like asexuals and asexuality. Even if I end up with a guy who's heterosexual, not asexual, I don't know if that would suit me, because if the guy wants sex, I don't think I can do that. I don't know if I might be able to do other stuff with him, because I did used to be into touching and doing other stuff with my exes years ago. And I don't know if I could, if it was an Indian guy that I really loved and cared about and loved touching, that I might actually enjoy that, you know, because I feel the most comfortable around younger Indian guys in their 20s. I feel the most comfortable around them usually, the most able to have physical contact with someone more than any other kind of ethnicity. But foreign guys in general, I do feel a lot more comfortable around. So I have like been close to Bangladesh guys before, and you know, in the past I've had Bangladesh boyfriend and dated Bangladeshi guys, so I do feel comfortable around them quite a bit as well usually, and some touching maybe, but I don't want other ethnicities really. I just want an Indian guy for a relationship, because I have the most deepest soulmate connection usually with Indian guys. I instantly connect with Indian guys. Like as soon as I get an Indian guy come in my inbox, it's like instant connection, like I've just known them for a long time. The way I feel, the connection is just like it's like I've come home. It's really weird. It's very bizarre. I don't get that with anyone else usually. It's just like, you know, like, well, I don't think I get it with anyone. It's just like instant. Like as soon as a new guy messages me who is Indian, I just like automatically feel something. And you know, I just have usually in terms of attractions, aesthetically, if they're not got a beard, then if they're clean shaven, I'm automatically aesthetically attracted to them usually. And I find that Indian guys are very, very super intelligent. I love coding. Like if a guy can, I can't code myself, but I find guys who can code so attractive, so attractive. So instead of like a sexual woman, for example, saying talk dirty to me, baby, I'll be like talk code to me, baby, because I really love hearing a guy talk about how he can code a website and get so excited about it and so expression in his face and so happy and love what he does that it just fills me with joy, and it makes me want to snog him more. Like it will asexually turn me on, as in I really want to snog him more, because you know, if I see him so excited and passionate, especially if he's holding my hands at the same time he's talking, because of like, you know, I'd be connected to him physically, and then I'd see all the emotion and the happiness in his face at the same time. It just really, really made me want to snog him. And so, yeah, so I know that a lot of Indian guys can do website coding, and I find that really attractive. That makes me intelligently attracted to them. For me, intelligence, one specific form of intelligence for me that is like a very ultimate intelligence is if a guy can code, because obviously people find intelligence different. You know, some people think like they have to do a Mensa test, or they have to be like their general knowledge has to be like, you know, like 99.9% correct all the time, or they have to know so much about the world. But me, my intelligence attraction is purely based on usually coding first and foremost, and then obviously, you know, like how they are emotionally intelligent. I think, you know, the way they can express their emotions, the way they can connect with me. I think an Indian guy has the power to deeply connect with me on a deep emotional level, and vice versa. I just feel I'm at home with Indian guys. I can't describe it. I just believe honestly that I have been here before in a past life, and I've come back in this life, and I was probably most likely with an Indian guy in my past life, and I need to find him in this one. But obviously I've had to stop doing dating and relationships for now, but it's very difficult because obviously I'm still attracted to Indian guys so much, like really seriously want to be with an Indian guy, and I can't help it. It's just like natural for me to be and feel that way, you know? And so I just have to wait for the right Indian guy one day to show up in my life, you know? Because I just can see how I could have such a beautiful soulmate, loving, caring, committed relationship with an Indian guy. And one of the things I love about the Indian guys in the UK Indian group that I'm in, the one that's got like 12,000 people in it, they often have pictures of them and their wife. I know a lot of them want marriage and I don't, which is obviously a difficulty, but you know, they often have pictures of themselves with their wives together, and I love that, because to me those guys are ones that are usually more faithful. However, I have seen a guy even on Facebook dating when I was on there, I'm not on there anymore, and he was in a picture I think with him and his wife getting married, and he's still trying to cheat on her by chatting up other women. So I think that's pretty disgusting to say the least, you know. But I do need, you know, like a really strong Indian guy for me. So like I find that heterosexual Indian guys are stronger a lot of the time than asexual Indian guys, and that really saddens me, because I find heterosexual Indian guys don't care that I do a YouTube channel for asexuals. They don't care about, you know, like like supporting me and sharing my videos and stuff. Even heterosexuals that are not Indian, I find they have less of a problem with it. The guys I've dated and stuff. I find that asexual Indian guys and asexual guys in general have much more of a problem, like the fact I'm publicly asexual. And it's like, if you can't be with a girl who's publicly asexual, then just don't even approach me, you know, because I need a strong guy. I need a guy who's like wanting to be in YouTube videos with me sometimes, who's wanting to, like, you know, be with me very publicly, who likes an older girl. But he would be the older one probably, whatever his birth certificate age, because I'm young, right, on purpose, right? And so, you know, but I love Indian guys aesthetically, like I said, intelligently, because they can usually code. That is really super attractive. Creatively, often, like, they usually fit all my attraction boxes, basically. I've got about 8 types of attraction, and usually an Indian guy is the only one who's capable of fitting the whole lot. So in terms of creativity, he might do photography, something like that, and even building websites. Again, going back to the coding and the intelligence attraction, with the fact, you know, I like Indian guys that can code. That is creative as well. If you can build a website and you can code, that is creating something from nothing, basically. So that fulfills that attraction as well. Sensual attraction. I have sensual attraction with the guy's upper body, and I don't like chest hair. I can't stand chest hair. So these Indian guys that have got big bushy beards, chest hair all over them, really manly looking, that's not the type of Indian guy I'm attracted to. I can still have a connection with them, as in a online connection, some sort of connection to them, because they're Indian and it's just natural for me, but I'm not attracted like that. I don't go for manly, hairy, big muscled, bulky guys, and I just don't like that. I like thin, skinny guys, ideally, no facial hair, no chest hair, boy next door look. That's what I like fresh face. So he looks like he's like, even if he's like 35, he probably look like he was 25, right? You know, I like a guy who looks young all the time, right? So you know, and I just find like clean shaven face is so much better for kissing, because I love kissing. And I can only kiss someone I'm aesthetically attracted to. And I've already explained that a guy with no facial hair is highly aesthetically attractive to me, if he's Indian usually. And, you know, and then for kissing, it's really important to have no facial hair, because, you know, the facial hair just gets in the way. With sensitive skin like mine, it can burn it and cause rashes and stuff like that. And I need a guy who keeps permanently shaved. I shave my arms and legs every day in the shower. So if a guy gives me like, oh, I can't shave my skin so often, it's like, but I have delicate skin, I'm female, it's not normal for a female to actually shave her arms. I'm not talking about just armpits, I'm talking about physical arms like these. It's not normal. But apparently I found out that Indian women tend to do that, and I'm like, wow, that's really unusual. Maybe I was Indian in a previous life myself. I do feel my soul's Indian, I really do. So, you know, it could be possible I was with an Indian guy in a previous life, or I actually was Indian in a previous life myself years ago, many moons ago. I don't know. Or it could have been my last life. I don't know. But, you know, I think I was with an Indian guy in my last life. However, yeah, so they fulfill like my sensual attraction. So usually, you know, the guys that are clean shaven, a lot of the time I find that they don't usually have much, if any, chest hair. I often find guys that don't have any chest hair. So I'm very sensual with the guy's upper body. I like licking, kissing, sucking his nipples. I know that's kind of weird for a girl to do that to a guy, and it's kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? But I just like that. I didn't know I liked that when I first started my asexual journey. I was kind of like saying I don't want, because I used to do touching. I've done lots of different types of sex in the past with my long-term exes, and I used to do touching and all that type of thing, and didn't have a problem with it at the time. I wasn't into sex. I preferred kissing more than anything, and I preferred the guy touching me more than I touched him, to be honest. But you know, I've since found out that I don't really like a guy, like, this is how I am at the moment, so I don't like a guy licking and touching and kissing my chest. I'm like, stay away, it's mine. And but I like doing that to him. I don't know why that is. It's just happened, right? So I've learned that on my asexual journey. I just kind of like it, I enjoy it myself, but I need a guy who likes that, really. Do you know what I mean? It's not much good if you enjoy it and he doesn't. And I just like stroking his arms. I love stroking the chestnut brown hair on an Indian guy. Like I said earlier, I love the earlobes. I'm very good at blowing into guys' ears, and they really like, oh, they love it. So I love the Indian guys' ears. Their earlobes are just so cute. They're usually like, I don't know, they've got a different feel about them to any other earlobes. And their hands and everything is just so beautiful. I just think Indian guys are stunningly beautiful. So, so much. Like, and I love their accent usually and the way they talk. And it's so nice. I love it when they say my name. If an Indian guy says my name in his accent, I'm like, oh my God. That's the only thing I find weird, that if there is a British, you know, an Indian guy who's born in Britain, I think that's going to be better for me, because I think it's going to be westernized and not be like a woman has to do housework and be the cook, the cleaner, the housewife. I'm not going to be that for any guy. I don't care if he's Indian or what the hell he is, right? I live for Indian guys, but I won't change myself and be someone I'm not for them, right? I'm not a housewife. I don't do cooking or cleaning for guy. You know, if he ever was able, if I let him come over to my place, he can cook, clean, wash up after himself, bring his own food, because I'm not interested in that. And if, you know, I can't be with an Indian guy who wants that. I would have to have an Indian guy who was independent, who could cook for himself, maybe even loved cooking for people and could cook for me, and, you know, and just wanted, like, didn't mind doing housework, you know, himself, or does it all for himself. And then one of my friends, Andy, he comes over and does shopping for me and housework for me, you know, because I've got fibromyalgia, so it helps me out a lot, and I keep getting injured and stuff and not being well. So, you know, so like my friend Andy, I know I don't want a guy for doing housework and cooking and cleaning. That's not why I want a guy. But my friend Andy did say it would be helpful if I had someone like him. He's not suitable for me. He's into guys, right? But like him in that way, you know, because he loves doing housework. He finds it nice to help people and help me, and he just enjoys it, right? So there are some guys that are like that. There are some guys that are domesticated. I honestly personally think, in my experience, that guys make better cooks as well, but that is a bit sexist in the favor of guys, but I just do believe that usually. But obviously I have loads of food allergies and special diet requirements, so unless they could cook and cater for that, it wouldn't be very good, because I would like have to have special food. But it'd be a good challenge if they're into cooking and they like challenges. They can see it as a challenge and adventure, like, how many different dishes could I cook for Sandra that's different to what she usually has all the time, and would make her feel really awesome and good, and she'd really love eating, but that doesn't have any of the allergens in it for her. That would be really nice if I had an Indian guy that really loved doing that type of thing, and just really, because I know some Indian guys love cooking. I've come across some that absolutely adore it, and, you know, and they want to cook for their woman. It makes them feel really good when the woman's eating the food that they've created. Again, it's a creativity, and that's part of the creative attraction as well. Like, if I had a guy cooking food for me and he made all these lush foods, I do love my food, then it would be lovely. And I said I like really skinny guys, like thin skinny guys, which not a lot of women do. I don't like hairy guys, right? So I'm the opposite to the majority of women in this world in that way. But if a guy did have weight on him, like if he was like an Indian guy who loved his food as well, and he had a voluptuous tummy, for example, I would just like still love him if he was the right guy for me. If I loved his personality and I loved everything about him, loved his face and all that type of thing, right? The attraction for me is usually in the face, not below the waist. So the face is what I get attracted to the most with any foreign guy, particularly, obviously, Indian's my top attraction, because the face is everything to me, right? I can, you know, like, even if I don't touch any of the other part of the body, I have to be attracted to the guy's face. When it's just like literally this, like the frame, like the shoulders, the hair, the face. This is everything to me. This is where nearly every bit of attraction is, just this bit and the shoulders. And so I love Indian guys that way. But obviously that's how I've been attracted to other foreign guys in the past, just by that. So for me, you know, I can be attracted to a guy instantly just by his photograph, because I'm very attracted to that part of the body, right? So So yeah, so it would be great if I had some Indian guy who really wanted to cook for me and loved doing all that type of thing, and he really got pleasure and joy out of that, because obviously I find, cooking would be creative, and that would be what I would love about him as well, but he doesn't have to do that for me, because I am self-sufficient, just as long as he don't expect me to do it for him, because I'm just not into it. I hate it. It bores me. It's a waste of my life and time, and I would resent someone even wanting me to, or think about me doing that. I would find like I'm wasting my life away doing that, because it's something I hate doing, right? I only cook because I have to, and I get paper plates so I don't have to wash up. So anyway, so so this is covering it covers sensual attraction, aesthetic attraction, creative and intelligence, aesthetic, romantic. Have I said romantic? Romantic, I usually have the most romantic attraction for Indian guys. I feel super romantic with them. It's like I want to hold their hands, I want to kiss them and cuddle them, I want to be close to them all the time. Sat on that, if I had a Indian guy partner, or when I would be sat on his lap, in between his legs, I want a lot of physical contact, but with clothes on. It's really important. I noticed even a lot of sexuals don't necessarily have a lot of physical contact unless it's in a more sexual setting, like a nightclub or bar or something like that, right? But if I'm in the city centre or whatever, and I'm with my Indian guy, I'd be wanting to hold his hand, to kiss him, to cuddle him, to go through the city. Like, I don't care what people think. I think you only live once in life, and I love all the excitement of kissing and cuddling and doing all that all the time as much as possible. So I really need an Indian guy that's like that, like me in that way, just really loves the physical aspect, because I feel that when you hold a guy's hand who you love, it literally is like electricity, and you feel so connected to them. Like, that's for me, the holding hands, it's like I'm connected to them all the time. I love the feeling of physical closeness when I'm out and connected to them. This is why I can't do a long distance relationship. I need kissing, I need physical touch, I need in-person dates. I need to actually, be best friends with the guy. And, like, I'm looking for an Indian guy who's my best friend, my soulmate, and the love of my life, all wrapped into one. I mean, those would be the criteria, whatever ethnicity it was. But obviously, Indians are my top attraction. And I really do believe I'm meant to be with an Indian guy. I just can't help but feel that way, I just know it's like my top attraction. I've only like I have only ever, like, like in recent times, I've only ever loved a guy who was like foreign, who wasn't Indian, right? Which was shocking to me. But now I'm out of that situation. I'm off, not seeing that person, blocked out of my life. Now I'm just like, if I was with a foreign guy, I just really want him to be Indian. I didn't think that at first. I thought, oh God, if I felt that way about that foreign guy, then it's possible I could love someone who's not Indian. And obviously that is true, because it's happened, which I wasn't expecting. But more and more lately, I just feel like I'm meant to be with an Indian guy, and probably because I keep getting lots of Facebook friend requests from Indian guys, and Indian guys tend to show up in my life when I need someone. Like, I'm going to be finishing my Asexual Guide to Sex book soon. I could do with a bit more support on that. And then when this Indian guy inboxed me, like, earlier this morning, the early hours, to friend request me and said, oh, I'm straight, but I support LGBT plus people. You just came with a suggestion on Facebook, or we haven't even got any mutual friends. I'm like, oh, that's good. I could do with a bit of extra support. And so I have to say that Indian guys usually show up in my life when there's danger, when I'm upset, in pain, need extra support. It's almost like I've had a past life with an Indian guy, and he sent me these. I know this is like out of a movie, far out, but my life tends to be like a movie, right? It's almost like he sent these Indian guys as people until he meets me in this life. He sent these Indian guys to look after me along my journey of life. And they show up in different areas of my life at different times, difficult times, and they show up in my inbox just to, like, get me through those tough times and move me forward in my life, so I can carry on living it and be happy as much as possible. I know it sounds bizarre and far out, but this is what I believe. I'm very spiritual. I believe in past life. I believe in reincarnation, and it honestly feels like that. It feels like, the Indian guy I knew from a past life. I think he is younger than me. I think he's coming from the past life later than I am. I think that's why he's actually younger in birth certificate age, because I think I came through to this life quicker than he did. and so he's got to catch up in the terms of like where he's at. And so it's almost like he's seen the future me, and like he's not going to be in it, so he sent me, I know this is like out of a movie, he sent me these Indian guys to like look after me along the way until he can actually be with me again in this life. This is far out stuff, I know, and you can believe it or not believe it, I don't care, because I'm just living my own asexual life dreams here, and I'm telling you why I love Indian guys so much and how important it is to me that I would love to find my Indian soulmate, right? And so I just feel I have the most connection, most attraction with Indian guys. So I've talked about a lot of attraction. So I'm talking more about romance now. Romance-wise, like I said, Indian guys, I usually have the most romantic attraction for Indian guys. It's like usually aesthetic and romance are like go together pretty much very simultaneously for me. With Indian guys, like unless they've got a beard, and it's like I can't really be attracted to you with a big bush on your face, which a lot of Indian guys have got these days more and more. And it's like, why do they have them? I'm just so repulsed by beards. Not just on Indian guys, I'm repulsed by beards full stop. I just think they're disgusting personally, and I know I'm in a minority these days would think that, but I'm just like, you got a bush stuck to your face. It's like literally you picked up a bush and stuck it on your face. It's like, why? You look so much older. I don't like older looking guys. You look so much older. You know, you just look like you can't be bothered to shave, which is probably the case. I like a guy who literally enjoys working on himself to make him the best possible version, who likes keeping his face like clean shaven, who wants to be able to have the kissing sensations and feel skin, on cheek, and feel around the mouth and stuff like that. You know, you can't do that if you've got a big bushy beard, and it does, like delicate skin like mine, it just causes rash and stuff. It's no good. And when I look at Indian guys, I do like, even if I just connect to them, I do think, oh god, I love to snog you. If they're clean shaven, a lot of the time, not with everyone, but probably most of them, maybe everyone that's clean shaven, but the majority, because you know, I just have and not if he's older. This is guys in their 20s usually, or if they look like they're in their 20s, they could be in their early 30s, for example, but look like they're in their 20s. But yeah, because there's another Indian guy that just friend requested me as well. So I've had 2 Indian guys friend request me in like the last 24 hours. One I've talked to, the other one didn't message back, but he's really clean shaven, he's really good looking, but his Facebook profile is very old. It's like 2018, so that's a bit dodgy in that way. It's like, where's your up-to-date stuff, mate? Often Indian guys can have 2 profiles as well. You got to be careful of that, because one they use for their friends, the other you use for their family. You've got to be very, very aware of that. So there are, you know, like some Indian guys aren't completely honest. You know, you know, that's the truth. All right, but I do love Indian guys still. But I know not of them, all of them are honest. I know some of them are after visas. That's the bad side, right? But there are good Indian guys as well. And so, yeah, romance, you know, like I love holding hands, kissing, cuddling with Indian guys. I feel the most physical comfortability with Indian guys than any other ethnicity. You know, like I would feel comfortable sitting on guys' lap in between his legs. I might even feel comfortable doing touching stuff more if I've known him a long time. You know, I'm just thinking more and more about that lately. Because I love a lot of physical contact, you know, but usually with my clothes on. But I have been naked in the past with exes years ago. So yeah, we've got the romance. Emotional attraction is so high with Indian guys. Like emotional connection is literally, it's almost simultaneously happens, even when I just connect with an Indian guy as a friend. Because I don't experience platonic attraction. You have to remember that about me as well. I experience 0 platonic attraction. So it's like, oh, I'm attracted to you straight away almost, because I don't experience, you know, most people experience like a platonic friendship type or acquaintance type of attraction to people. And I don't have that. So with Indian guys, if I look at a guy, I can be instantly aesthetically attracted to him, and often that does come with some feelings of romance as well. And so if he doesn't talk to me much, it's better for me, because then I can't get so emotionally connected to him and involved with him. But if he started talking to me quite a lot, that would be difficult for me, because I would be more emotionally invested in him and connected to him, because communication and talking is the way you emotionally connect with someone, because you share thoughts and feelings. So it depends. If you've got an Indian guy if I got an Indian guy, for example, that's talking to me and he's just talking about business stuff, I ain't going to be that emotionally connected to him, because he's not talking about anything about sharing feelings and emotions. But any guy, any person who shares their feelings, emotions, and secrets, all this type of stuff, this is how you become very emotionally connected to someone. And if that connection goes really well and you progress it, it can get deeper and deeper and then be the most bestest soulmate, deep, loving connection you've ever experienced in your life. And that's why asexuals can have this pure love, because it's based on a deep emotional connection. However, that could turn toxic if one of the people becomes controlling, or if one of the people stops appreciating the other, if one of the person doesn't need the other one as much and they like cut communication down or off. And so you have to really be aware that when you have to be aware there's good love and there's toxic love, and you need to find, if you're looking for dating relationship, you need to find true real love where the person, guy and yourself, respect each other. You don't speak badly of each other, you don't call each other names, you don't be nasty to each other, don't nitpick on each other. You really respect each other, you respect each other's careers, you bring each other up, you make each other feel good, you support each other. You feel like you can 100% trust that person. You feel like they've got your back. You feel like they're your best buddy. You feel like you can totally trust them with other genders. Like, I would say opposite sex, because most guys that I'm interested in are hetero. So I could trust them with other women. You can just tell by their body language and the things they say and do really where they're trustworthy or not with other women. You get some guys and they're very, very strong, and it's like boundary driven with other women. You know what they're like. They're very, very, they don't go all this kissy, huggy stuff. If I look at Guy and I look at the pictures of him with other women, you can have a guy who puts his arm around a woman like she's his mate. They do it in a very different way to a guy who puts his arm around a woman and it's more like, I'm really attracted to her. It's the way they position their hands, the way they position their body, the way their tonality is, their facial expression. I can usually tell the difference, because if I have an interest in a guy and he's got his arm around women that have got their boobs on display, to me that really puts me off that type of guy. I'm like, I'd rather you have your arm just around a woman's shoulder as a co-worker in an office, just for an office party. Do you know what I mean? Nice and formally, not like, oh, she's mine and bring her closer to me and she's got big boobs like this. It really puts me off. It really makes me like, oh, I analyze myself a lot, and I'm like, okay, if you were in a relationship with this guy, would you trust him? Just by seeing this photograph of him with the other woman, it's like, no, I wouldn't. But if you were with this guy, would you trust him? And I'm like, probably or possibly I would, but I find it hard to trust anyway. So, but I'm more likely to trust a guy who does a photograph a certain way with a woman than another one, because I can tell by body language. It's very different when you've got space in between you with a guy and a girl, like some space up here, and it's a bit more like it's rigid than a guy who's like bringing his arm right round a woman, hugging her tight, like holding her tight. That's someone who's usually really attracted to the girl. It's like, it's mine to get off her to other guys. So, I like it when guys post a lot of pictures of them and their male friends. So there's not really any women in the photograph. But the only trouble with that is if you become their girlfriend, it's like, are they going to post pictures of you and them together as a girlfriend? Are they going to acknowledge they've got a partner in their social media, or are they just going to pretend like they're single and only have pictures of them and their guy mates? Because I wouldn't like that either, another thing I like about Indian guys, so much I like Indian guys. I've told you about the intelligence. I find a lot of them, as well as coding, a lot of them are very interested in education, personal and professional development. And of course, this feeds into my intellectual attraction towards them. I find a lot of them are doing studying. Some of them are doing studying for long periods of time. This is no good if they live in a foreign country. I'm interested in them, because if they're studying like for 5 years, and they're like, oh, but I really want a relationship with you. I'm like, well, I'm not going to wait for anyone for 5 years. I don't wait for anyone, right? Any foreign guy that likes me at sport, I will not be in a relationship with him. If he wants to be in a relationship with me, he gets over to the UK first, gets a visa of his own accord, gets a job of his own accord, gets accommodation of his own accord. Then he can talk to me about a relationship when he's actually over here, not faffing around saying, oh, but I'd like to be with you, but I can't because it's too difficult to get a visa and all this rubbish, right? There are other people that manage to get over here. They're Indian and foreign. There's an Indian guy who I'm connected to in this city who's on my channel. And we had a meet up together with him and his friends. He's Indian. He's in my city studying. I've met guys in clubs. One guy who's Indian, he has his own Indian restaurant in my city. Another guy, he's come over for study. He was like 18 or 19 who wanted to have sex with me, and obviously I don't do stuff like that. And he wanted to kiss me. You know, and there was another Indian guy as well in his 20s, I think, and he's got an actual job after study in my city, lives near me, but when we don't speak, because I just met him at a club, right? So there are Indian guys that do it. There are a lot of Indian guys that do it, right? And any Indian guy that goes to me, I can't get over here. Maybe that person can't for whatever reason, but I believe where there's a will, there's a way. And if you really want something that badly, I've learned from a lot of other guys, if a guy loves a woman and wants that woman so badly, he will do absolutely anything for it, even if it means working 3 jobs to get enough money to afford to go and be with her, he will do it. So whenever I have an Indian guy, but it's like, I'm like, I don't even go there anymore. I'm not doing long distance relationships. I just refuse to. It's too much heartbreak, too much pain, you know, and unless a guy's actually over in the UK, it's no good to me. I don't want this online relationship. I know some other asexuals can do it. I can't, right? I can't do this online stuff. This isn't, to me, having an online relationship, an actual romantic relationship I'm talking about, is not a proper relationship, in my opinion, for me personally. This is because I need physical contact. Some asexuals, they don't need physical contact. I do. Part of having a real relationship to me is having a physical person here in front of me, kissing, cuddling me, holding hands, going out to the cinema, going out to theme parks, going out to zoos, going out to aquariums, experiencing things together, having life experiences together, being best ever friends, being soulmates, being at one with each other and taking on the world as besties ever, equal friends, and having a deep, strong companionship and deep, strong romantic connection, deep, strong soulmate connection, love connection, all the connections, you know, a really solid base. So it's like you take on the world together, right? In a nice way, not a horrible way, because I want a loving Indian guy, but I want a strong one that's very boundary driven, you know. And like I said, there are some Indian guys that don't actually care what their family and friends and their society thinks, and they are like living their own life, they are doing their own thing. So I just need one of those type of guys over here in the UK who's British Indian ideally, or lived in the UK of his own accord for a while, got his own visa to stay over here, because, you know, I'm a very individualist who plays by our own rules in life. I don't want marriage, I don't want sex, and I don't want kids. And I need someone to live around the corner from me, not with me, right? Because I like living on my own. But obviously I have the really romantic side to me as well. So Indian guys, they just cover like romantic attraction, aesthetic attraction, soulmate connection with me. They just intelligence attraction, creative and clothes attraction. For some reason, usually Indian guys just look so good in the clothes they wear. Like whatever clothes they wear, they just look so darn good in them. I'm like, oh my God, they just got really good dress sense for themselves. I just love their dress sense usually. I mean, I like the street look, right? But even like a guy who's like, if it was a British guy wearing a cardigan, for example, that would be kind of lame, right? Because the cardigans are really old fashioned for British guys, right? But if it was, sorry, British guys, I know that sounds really bad. This is my opinion. And experience doesn't mean to say it's like this, right? There's probably some really attractive British guys somewhere who wear cardigans and a smart shirt and trousers and look really gorgeous for loads of women, right? So if you're one of those British guys, good for you. But I personally seem to like this, an Indian guy could wear like an old jumper or a cardigan type style. You know, it's kind of like button through jumper type thing, like a cardigan. Looks like a cardigan, and he can have a shirt underneath and trousers. He just looks absolutely stunning. Like it really suits his facial features, suits his skin color. Just, you know, so I think Indian guys got a very good dress sense, right? Dress sense as well, you know. So I think that adds to, you know, so I get close attraction with them, sensual attraction. Spiritual attraction is the other one, which I've told you about, the soulmate connection. So I have literally a deep spiritual connection usually with Indian guys. Like I said, I believe I've got an Indian soulmate somewhere. I believe he's asexual, but I do sometimes have certain doubts about that, as in maybe I'm meant to be with a heterosexual Indian. I can't see it because I don't like sex, and I really don't want that again in my life. I might be able to do some other stuff, possibly. At the moment, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm not saying I want to do anything like that. I'm saying I don't. But, you know, the more I think about it, the more I might be able to. If it's an Indian guy I absolutely love and adore and found really aesthetically attractive, because I like touching things that are like not touching the Indian guy who's aesthetically attractive, I think it would make me want to touch him more, essentially, and make me want to touch his body more, probably, because I would be that. If I had like a stunning Indian guy in front of me, I'd literally be wanting to stroke his hair and kiss and colour him. I like pretty much wouldn't want. I pretty much hope that he would be very energetic, or like an energetic girl who likes kissing him loads for hours and hours. and likes to keep him on his toes with nice electrifying kisses. But yeah, I just really if I'm getting physically close to someone, I just think I would be doing it more and more with Indian guy than any other type of ethnicity, because I can't, you know, I'm not looking to love any other guy but an Indian guy in the future, if I found a nice one, because I just haven't found anywhere near the right Indian guy for me yet at all, sadly. After 7.5 years, I gave up that, you know, I've given up looking for him. So he's going to have to find me, but I can't help but be attracted to Indian guys still. But I'm not going down looking to get, you know, I'm not in dating sites going to look for Indian guys. I'm not in Facebook dating anymore. But it's hard because I see Indian guys, I'm like, oh, he's really handsome, I want to kiss him. And I'm like, Sandra, it's not really this, not going after an Indian guy is still not really working, in the sense I'm still highly attracted to them, like really badly. And it's like, I just want to snog you now. So that's really difficult for me. It's getting more and more intense again. And I guess that goes with my hyper romanticism. I'm like, no, you're not going on Facebook date. You're not doing any of that. It's toxic. You know, I need to keep off there, because obviously I had my heart broken by an Indian guy last year and a guy who wasn't Indian. And I'm still healing from both of those things. And so I cannot get into a relationship with anyone else. I don't want to do dating and relationships in that way. But I still believe in true love. I do. And I still believe there is a good Indian guy out there in the world for me who is wanting someone exactly like me, and he's probably really lonely in some ways, and he's probably like really missing the person who he hasn't got, and I'm here, and he doesn't realize it yet. He's got to realize it. I think after 7.5 years, it's like, I'm giving up looking for him now. He has to come to me if he wants me. I'm done, right? 7.5 years is enough. I don't think many women would do that, right, and sacrifice 7.5 years of their life basically in search of this person who they haven't yet met. So, you know, I'm healing. I'm spending a lot of time self-dating. I went on a self-date again today at the cinema. I've got a lot of movie reviews to do, but I wanted to do this very special episode because I know a lot of my fans on this channel are from India. I presume a lot of them are Indian guys as well, you know? So I need an Indian guy that's really into kissing, because I can kiss for up to 3 hours and never get bored. Never get bored. And I'm a very energetic girl, really. Usually I'm more energetic than the guy is. He's usually tired, and I'm like, you know, like bouncing around. So yeah. But yes, so I just love Indian guys so much. Their hair, their face, their arms and shoulders and chest, the way they are into education, the way they are very intelligent. Usually a lot of them are into coding. I have the most instant attraction for that ethnicity more than anything else. I have the most deep soulmate connection usually with them. I can connect instantly with Indian guys just like that. Like in my inbox, it's like instantly I feel connected to that person because they're Indian, male I'm talking about. So it's very bizarre. I can only believe that I've been with an Indian guy in a past life, because it's like I come home. And I was watching a video, a law of attraction video about relationships and dating a while ago, and it was on about if it's is this person your true soulmate? And I knew actually from watching that video that person can't have been my true soulmate, because it didn't feel that way. But it said in this video that it feels like you're at home with the person, like you've come home to, you know, like your home is them basically. And when I'm in this Indian group in the UK, it's got like 12,000 people in it. But they kindly allowed me in, even though I'm not Indian. It just feels like I'm home. That whole group feels like I'm home. I don't know if I will meet my soulmate eventually in that group. It'd be weird if I did. But I just probably not, because I don't, like, it isn't a dating group. And most of them are just talking about travel. And, that's how I know Indian guys can get back and forth to the UK. And a lot of them do as well, because every day, usually someone is posting about they're going to UK, they're going to India, they're leaving London, they're going to Delhi, and they just go back and forth. This has been happening throughout the whole pandemic, even though it looks on the news that there's been a lot of problems. Throughout the whole pandemic, there have been people from India coming to the UK on flights that are not necessarily advertised, which is what people don't tell you. But the government make quite a lot of money, obviously, if they have agreements with hotels and insurance companies and stuff like that. So the Indian people, they pay a lot of money to come over here in COVID tests, hotel quarantines and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a legal advisor. I can't say for definite what the government does or doesn't do, but I just think they get a percentage from the hotels they're quarantined in and stuff like that. So, that's my personal opinion, not necessarily fact. You have to find the facts out for yourself. But yeah, so I know, because I see all the travel in there, what goes on. I know people can get from India to there's not many in Exeter actually, but India to UK, like they can get throughout even these trying times. I've been able to get in and out of the country a lot of the time, but they do have to pay a price for it, But there's a guy who I connected with recently in my city who's not Indian. He's got a girlfriend. He's Mexican. I just get on well with him. We talk about business stuff usually. And he's in this country, and he told me how much money he paid to get in for his study. It was really huge amount. So, he's like in his 20s as far as I know. So yeah, like, if a guy says, "Oh, I can't get into the UK," maybe their personal circumstances as they are at the moment don't allow that. But any person who loves a woman would just actually go and make the steps to be with her, which is why I don't bother convincing any guy anymore how to get over here. I'm like, if you want to get over here, go on HMRC website in the UK, go on the .gov UK website, and that has a whole list of sponsorship jobs. Thousands of them. And this is what lots of foreign guys aren't willing to do. They aren't willing to do the work it takes to get into the UK. How there's an entrepreneur saying, is how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And if you really want something so badly, you'd sit there for hours and hours trawling through all those thousands of sponsorship jobs week after week, month after month, to get into the UK. If you really wanted to come to the UK, you troll from them. You'd be on LinkedIn, you'd be contacting companies through LinkedIn, you'd be sending do a CV, sending your CVs off, you'd be reaching out to companies on Facebook as much as possible. You'd just be going all out if that was what your goal and dream and ambition was. That is the truth of it, Anything that you want in life is not going to come easy. It's going to take you hours, weeks, months, patience to do it, right? But if you want to do something so badly, if that's your end goal and you've decided that, you'll do it. Right? With determination, you will succeed. Right? So, like, it just, obviously this is, I love Indian guys, and I still believe my soulmate's Indian. I still love Indian guys. I still, for me, want to be with an Indian guy, but there are downsides. Not every Indian guy's good. There are a lot of Indian guys are well known for liking their sex, and a lot of it, right? So that's why I really think I need an asexual Indian guy, unless I could have a heterosexual Indian guy that wouldn't be bothered about not having sex and's not bothered about sex. It's just not a big deal for him. He prefers to have kissing, and Kalyan prefers a woman who's just like soul connected with him and connected to his heart and looks after his emotions. There are a lot of Indian guys that come across that have had a relationship when they were younger or fallen in love with a woman, and literally they are still loving that woman. And I just know from talking to them usually that whatever woman comes into their life, me or another woman, they are never going to love me the way they love that first person, because their heart is still with that person. I've always said you can't love someone else fully, open your heart to fully to someone else, you still love someone else. This is why I know that I've got to get over both the guys last year, particularly the most recent one, but both of them, I've still got I've still got upset from both of those guys, actually, one Indian, one not, both of them, to be honest with you. And it's really difficult because a lot of the time in heterosexual world, particularly, they say, oh, how you get over someone is being in a relationship with someone else. That's kind of the logic, like get with someone else. But actually, you know, you do need sometimes to just not do that and take time out for yourself to heal and heal those wounds and stuff. Because if a person's really hurt you badly and they've really broken your trust, you know, especially if you had it with more than one guy or person, people, I'm talking about guys, then that's going to just carry through to a new relationship. You're not going to trust the person. You're going to question everything they do. You're going to, if they say something to you, it's going to make you feel uneasy. It's just not a healthy place to go to. So it's much better if you can just like take some time out and like heal yourself, you know. But obviously I know that I could love again. I know I could love an Indian guy. I know that if I found the right Indian guy, I would be so happy that these other two guys last year just went out of my life. I'll be like, thank you so much. And I am grateful to them, because if they're not right for me, they've shown me early on their bad side, which is bad for me, you know, their side of them that's not good, then I'm grateful and thankful they showed me early on, because I could have spent like years of my life with one of those people and ended up in the same position, and then I would have been more hurt, more upset, more in pain, and I would just wasted my life again. And years ago I wasted my life with a very abusive guy for two abusive guys for a very long period of time in my life, and I don't want that again. I don't deserve that. I don't need that. I don't want it. I've worked on myself a lot over the years, you know, and I just need to be happy in my life, you know. I mean, there's one person I trust in this world, which is my best friend, Sam, asexual friend, Sam. I trust him 100%. That is very rare for me. But if I'm going to have a romantic relationship, me and Sam aren't romantically attracted to each other. They've got a partner. So, you know, they're romantically attracted to male-looking people, right? So we're not that way. We're really awesome best friends. But, you know, I need to be able to trust a romantic partner the same amount I trust Sam. And I have never come across that yet to date at all, ever. So that was going to be, you know, but I believe there are Indian guys out there like that. I believe there's Indian guys that are very strong, know their own mind, know their own emotions, very, very in charge of their self and their life and their bodies. They're very, very kind of probably fixed. I'm kind of a fixed girl. Like a lot of the time I don't change very much. Like throughout the years, I have changed a lot, but in terms of like fundamentals, like I don't want children. I've been like that since I was 15 years old. That is not changing, right? If I get with a guy and he's in his 20s and he still doesn't know whether he wants kids or not, he's not sure, he might chop and change his mind, like the recent Indian guy I talked to via video message, then, you know, who wasn't asexual. He wasn't asexual. I only messaged him once since just to check he was okay because his health wasn't good. But you know, because I'm not in, you know, we can't go anywhere with that because he wants kids and we're not suitable, he said. So that's fine. I've got that out of my system as much as possible now. And if I don't talk to him very much, I usually don't really have those feelings come up with him. So it's fine. So, you know, you know, I've never wanted children. Living together, I've lived on my own for a very, very long time now. I'm very self-sufficient. I don't need a guy. Some people like, especially in sexual groups, I'm still in sexual dating groups, just I don't participate in them usually. And anyway, you know, sexuals, when I used to post about, you know, the I don't want sex, I don't want marriage, I don't want kids, I don't want to live with someone, they're like, oh, well, why do you want a relationship then? What's the point? To me, the point of a relationship is two people love each other, two people want to spend time with each other, two people want someone who's going to protect their heart and care about them, two people want a person who's going to be on their life journey with them and support each other and protect each other and hold each other's hearts in their hand and keep it sacred and safe and not let anyone come between them. You know, still have friends obviously, but I'm talking about, you know, like be boundary driven, right? And you know, and for the connection and the, you know, you don't need to have sex, marriage or kids or to live together to love someone. You don't need sex, marriage or kids to live together to actually be in a relationship with someone. You can have what's called a living apart together relationship, which is what sexual people have as well. You know, you have to be asexual to have that. At one time, they did a survey years ago in like a newspaper, and it was like I think it's 10% of the population in the UK were having a living part together relationship. Some people are actually married and they live separately, or some people are just not married, you know. And you don't have to have sex, marriage, or kids to or even do housework for each other to have a relationship. All this stuff from the past about traditional relationships, like, oh, you live together, you go to this 9 to 5 job, you cook for each other, or the woman does the cooking, cleaning, the housework, the guy comes in after a long day at work and sits and munches his food, and then he might watch loads of TV and go to his room, or maybe talk to the woman if she's lucky. You know, I don't believe, it's just so outdated stuff, in my opinion. If that's how people want to live their life, that's fine. Older generations probably love that, and that suits them, right? That's fine for them. But personally, this all, you know, we're living in 2022 now when I'm recording this live. I'm doing a live stream at the moment, right? And this concept about what a relationship should be is really outdated, right? The concept that society has is, right, you get to a certain age, then you get married, then you have children, you know, well, obviously you have your sex usually in your teen years and whatever, and have sex with loads of people. I hate that. Or if you're more of a churchgoer, Christian, a more religious person, you're less likely to have sex with loads of people, might not have sex before marriage. So anyway, there's sex, possibly a lot of it or not, as the case might be. Then people get married. Usually after they get married, I don't know if you've noticed this, but most of the people that get married, within the first year, they have kids. It's almost like they've got married to have permission to have sex, to have kids, you know, especially if they're religious, right? Or, you know, or they have to refrain from sex for marriage, right? And so you'll see these kids come along, usually often in the first year, and it's like, you know, you just basically got married to have kids, right? Have sex to have kids. This is my personal opinion. You don't have to share it. And so, you know, and so this is where it goes. And then you do this 9 to 5 job and you share this house together. And usually, traditionally, the woman's expected to cook and clean because the guy's had this hard day at work, and, you know, and she needs to do this for him because it's her place in the relationship, and her place in society, and her place in the house. To me, this is absolute bullshit, old-fashioned rubbish that every relationship should be like this, right? If someone wants that relationship, it works for them, go for gold, right? Because whatever works for the people, doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. But, you know, it's so outdated. You can have a loving, caring, committed relationship where you both live separately, you don't share bills like you would do if you live together, you don't share the cooking. Maybe if there are some times when, obviously, if you live separately, you might want to share the cooking. One person might want to cook one day, one person might want to cook next. If you like that type of thing, you might want an equal relationship where you're both buying food for each other. But in my personal experience, I usually don't like doing that, because when I've been with guys, they tend to eat. I eat a lot anyway, but a guy tends to eat a lot more than a woman, and more expensive foods, in my opinion. And so years ago, when I used to be living separately and we used to be paying for each other's food, I used to hate it, because I used to end up spending a lot of my money on the guy's food, right, more than my own. And if you live separately and you have separate household bills, you have to budget for your own food and your own stuff. It's no good if you're budgeting for yourself and then you've got to keep a proportion of your money every time for that other person in your life coming around and eating your food and stuff, because it's eating into your budget. And most people, most couples, a lot of the time actually argue over money, right? It's a big thing that they do in a relationship, right? And you need to eliminate that. One of the ways to eliminate is having your own separate places, having your own bank accounts, paying for your own food, paying for your own bills and everything like that. And it's separate. Then you don't stress about it, because you're not having this person in your life and maybe watching them spend money on video games or something so it can get very resentful. So say you're working a full-time job and your partner is working less hours, they're doing a part-time job, maybe you're paying more of the bills, yet they're spending their money on video games and stuff, and you're there slaving away at your job thinking, well, I haven't got enough money for leisure stuff because I'm busy paying more bills because I'm working full-time, you're only working part-time, or vice versa, you know. And even, like, you know, even if you're both earning money, but maybe you've got no money left over at the end of the month because you have got a job that's X amount of salary. Women tend to still get paid a lot of the time less than a man. And then the guy, you know, he's going off, you know, he's got all the money, you're paying equally, which is fair in that way if you live together. But then he's got all this excess money where he can go out drinking, go out, like, cinema, go where he likes, but you've got no money left at the end of the day. you'd like be slaving away to pay bills to have that relationship in that home with that person, if you see what I mean. And so for me, I think the best types of relationships in this modern day are, some people want to live together, which, share household stuff, or if the guy's working less hours, then he does more housework. Or I even like the idea of having a houseman where the guy does a lot more housework because he enjoys it, right? But I personally think the best relationships are where you live separately, or even if you had a house, you sectioned it off into 2 separate flats, and you literally have your own bills, your own money that you pay for your food, your own money you pay for your leisure, and literally everything's your own. And then these 2 people come together as whole beings in their own right, perfectly able to take care of themselves financially, roof over their head, food in their belly. They're able to live in separate places and literally look after themselves. And then when you come together, you're focusing on a high quality time and relationship together. You're focusing on the relationship. You're focused on the 2 people involved in it. You're not arguing and bickering over money or who's buying what when and who didn't get the toilet rolls and who didn't buy the casserole dish. Because if you're living separately, you've got to sort your own self out. You've got to buy your own products. You've got to organise your own life. You've got to pay your own bills. It's a lot less stressful if you just get on with your own sections in your own life, and then you come together as 2 whole people. You come together as 2 whole people that's not needing the other person financially, that's not relying on the other person to pay the bills, that's not resenting the other person because that person sat on their ass while you're doing all the housework, for example, or vice versa, and you can come together for high quality times together. And if that person decides that they want to do stuff that you don't want to do, they can go back to their own place and do it. I hate sport. I'm a sports-free zone. I can't stand sport. I don't want a guy coming around my flat, sat there watching sport for hours while I'm bored rigid. And he calls that a relationship? It's like, no, if you are a guy who likes sport and I've decided to be with you, I have to accept that that's what you like and enjoy. Good for you. Nice for you, right? But you can go back to your own place to do that and spend 3 or 4 hours watching it. Well, I'm here in peace and quiet, or with my music on, building a website, or vlogging on this channel, or doing a blog and doing stuff like that. I'm actively doing something. I don't want to watch TV. I don't want a guy in my house, flat, I should say, watching TV, and expecting me to think this is a good relationship. What, when you're boring me to death with watching football for 3 or 4 hours, and I'm just stuck doing nothing? That's the only problem. That's why it's good to live near each other when you live separately, because if you live at completely different ends of the city or at different ends of the country, right, what can happen is you go and stay with your partners and you're twiddling your thumbs. Because for me personally, I'm on my Mac a lot of the time. When I'm not out, I'm busy doing computer work, right? If I have a relationship with a guy and the guy doesn't live with me and I go over to his place, I basically have to do what he wants to do because I'm in his home. Right? I mean, obviously, I won't do things I don't want to do. But I mean, if he wants to watch football and stuff, I can hardly say, well, you can't do that because it's his home. I can say that I don't like it. It's boring to me. But you know what I mean? If he wants to watch his football, he wants to watch his football. But, that's why it's better for me to live nearby. I'm like, well, I'm going to go home. You watch your football. You enjoy that, darling, for 3 hours or whatever. Get popcorn, whatever. Have your mates around, whatever you want to do. But I'm going back to mine because I've got a website I want to build, or I've got a book I want to write. I've got an asexual video I want to do. I've got people I need to speak to in my group. I've got stuff I need to do, and I just don't need that on in the background because it just annoys me, And so I just think the modern society needs to realise that relationships are defined differently these days. They're not defined by how much sex someone is or isn't having. They're defined by the 2 people in it. And only, or more if you're polyamorous, if you've got multiple partners. But if you're having a monogamous relationship, just 2 people, the relationship is defined by 2 people in it, where they have sex or they don't have sex, where they kiss or cuddle or don't kiss or cuddle, where they they define the rules for the relationship, no one else, right? If there's a huge age gap, that's up to them. If they're the same gender, that's up to them. It doesn't matter what anyone else does or thinks or says. It's only the people in the relationship, right? But we should be, considering these days that separately living is a good solution because it takes a lot of those problems away the problems where, you know, you're sharing household bills and, you know, one pays the bill and the other person doesn't, or you're having to ask them for it, or, you know, you just, like I said, all your money's going out on bills, and maybe you've got a lower paid job than that other person has, and they get all this leisure money. It's like, well, what do? I just have a miserable life. I live with you. Yeah, great. I love to see you, but I could be having a cheaper place elsewhere, living on my own, having some spending money to go out and do things that I want to do and living a happier life. People should be having happy lives as separate beings in their own right. And then when they come together, and also it needs a lot of trust as well. Obviously, if you're living separately, it needs a huge amount of trust. Probably even more if you're together, living together, right? So you need to be able to get someone who's 100% honest, 100% trustworthy, 100% faithful. And obviously, you're going to want to see your friends. So then you would tell your partner, look, you would set date nights. She might be thinking, all right, if I have a relationship, like, when am I actually going to see my partner? And what's going to happen? How's it going to work? So you would have in mind, you would set date nights with this person, or date days. You'd have like X amount of days per week that you book in advance with each other, that you know that you're going to see each other, whether that's on video camera or in person. I would expect, you know, in a relationship, you'd be messaging every day anyway, as if you're together, even if you're apart, you know, this type of thing. You know, and it requires a lot of communication, because you're still like kind of having a long distance relationship, even though you're close together if you live nearby, right? Because you've got that element that you're not actually physically in the same home as them. So you've got to take them into consideration. Like, if you went to a party, you know, you'd have to say, I've got to go, you know, I'm invited out to this party, I'm going to that party. But obviously, if you're going round to that person's house, then you can't go to the party if you've already said you're going, because you're in a relationship, right? But if you haven't made plans yet, but it's good to make date nights and plans every single week. And, you know, especially if you've got a person who's anxious in a relationship, right? I have generalized anxiety disorder. I'm doing the section on my Asexual Guide to Sex book at the moment about anxiety in relationships. And one of the things is to always plan. I'm saying you should do is always plan dates in advance, because where they're an anxious person, it depends on the person and how their anxiety works. Often they get worried or concerned about when they're going to see their person next. And they need some definite plans, especially for me personally with my lifestyle. I need to have set days and times where I can work my work around them. So I know I'm seeing that person, but the rest of the time I don't have to worry, because I'm like, well, I've got all this work to do. Because I can't be like this week doing work and the next week like going, oh, but I don't know, you know, I don't know where I'm seeing the person next. So they could just spring it on me when I've got work to do. It doesn't work like that, you know, it just puts me under pressure and stress. So I need to, you know. So, you know, it requires two people to be very organized, very communicative when you live separately and everything like that. But I find an Indian guy who is very independent, but who also extremely romantic. I mean, part of me does want to live with a guy from the romance point of view, but practically, I know it's no good for me. It doesn't work. It's just a headache and a nightmare. The only way it would probably work was if we were in two separate flats in the same building. We each had our own, like, we still had our own, like, electricity meter or something, I don't know, or split certain bills maybe, but, you know, like, ideally, or we rented from someone else and had our own two separate flats within the rental, so we paid the landlord, so we didn't have anything, you know, we weren't directly connected in bills whatsoever. That would be quite good. So I live in the middle of a house here. If my Indian soulmate happened in the future to come and live in one of the rooms or a flat upstairs or something, if anyone moved out, then, you know, that would be ideal, because it's like they pay the landlord, I pay the landlord. We don't get involved in bills like that, but they still live in the same building as me, so I can still see them when I like, and vice versa. And their friends would go up to their place. My friends can come up to mine. I don't usually have many people in my home, but I usually have my friend Andy, because he helps me. But, you know what I mean? That's another thing I don't like about living together. I don't like someone coming into my home that I don't know is going to come in. And obviously most families and people just invite their friends around as and when. And for me, I like to know who's coming when, not just someone turning up. It doesn't suit me. So, you know, so for me, you know, I know I've gone off topic a lot about the situation, but I'm just saying, you know, with Indian guys, I need a strong Indian guy for me who knows what he wants, knows all his deal breakers, like doesn't want marriage, doesn't want kids, doesn't need sex, and this type of thing, and who knows his life path, got his career sorted out, you know, is very super strong, and you know, is happy to be with an older girl and someone who like you know, is in the public eye and would happily come on some of my videos. Obviously, me and my best friend Sam were on our videos together. So, you know, I would expect nothing less of a soulmate sometimes to turn up on some. And, you know, like, you know, but I just wanted to share with you, you know, I just feel I have the most deepest connection with Indian guys, most romantic connection, most aesthetic connection. I find them really intelligent. I find their skin really beautiful. I find their aura as well. I haven't talked about an aura. So Indian guys for me tend to have this aura about them that's really warm, spicy, and beautiful. It's like I feel really comfortable around them. Like the aura is really good for me, and it feels really welcoming and warm and comfortable and physically comfortable. So again, that's probably a spiritual connection thing, but that's really important for me as well. So yeah. But you know, a lot of Indian asexual guys, they're not out about being asexual, and that is no good to me. I do like a guy who has some feminine traits sometimes, but I like a guy to look like a guy and to actually be strong. I find that a lot of the time the feminine guys that I attract, they tend to be too feminine and they're just not so boundary driven, and they're just not strong enough for me. You know, they couldn't say to a female, oh, if a female came and said, oh, I really like you, I think you're great and gorgeous, they couldn't say, I'm taken. They'd be like, oh, thanks, and wouldn't say they got a girlfriend, stuff like that probably, and wouldn't even think about it, you know. But a strong guy would go, I've already got a girlfriend, you know. So all the guys I've met recently, when I met guys, like when I've talked to them in person on the phone, if they've got a girlfriend, they've told me really super quickly. Like a Mexican guy, it was one of the first things he said when we video chatted, and it was all very much about me helping his girlfriend in the publishing business, and him talking about his studies and stuff like that. It's very formal, friendly like that. So yeah, that only lasted an hour, but he told me straight away that he had a girlfriend who's in this country. She lives 15 minutes away from him. So, you know, a good guy will do that. He will just literally put it in there. He won't go around chatting up loads of people, chatting to other women, and not say to the woman that he's already got a girlfriend, you know. And it's all very formal, you know, like he doesn't, you know, there's no hearts or kisses or any of that rubbish, which I wouldn't expect there to be if a guy's got a girlfriend, you know. So I'm really happy with the, you know, like even the Indian guy who connected with me earlier today, you know, there's no kisses or hearts or any of that rubbish. It's literally, I say it's rubbish because it's not good if you know, like a guy's after you like that, and you know, you don't know who they are or anything, and you know, he just wants to chat like as a person to person, nothing in it, right? But I just think that, you know, I just know that I get most attracted to Indian guys. I believe I'm meant to be with an Indian guy, and it just gets, it kind of like, the less I go looking for a guy, the more I get attracted at the moment. It's kind of having a bit of a effect on me that I'm getting more and more hyper romantic lately, even though I'm trying to stay away from romance. I guess it's a bit like a magnet sometimes. Like when you pull away from something, you just get like magnetized back to it because it's what you really want and what you really like, even if it's like not necessarily a good thing for you at the moment. It's like a cream cake that can be naughty but nice, but you shouldn't really eat. Yeah, so you know, I at the moment am not actively seeking a relationship with anyone, but I do still have this huge strong attraction for Indian guys. Like when we had the asexual meetup yesterday, which I have to say went incredibly well. So say a line, why you love Indian guys? Yeah, I've done a whole video about it. I'm on like an hour and 23 minutes through it now, so you can watch the whole video from the beginning, because I don't want to keep repeating myself, but all the viewers have already heard me. But yeah, so the meetup yesterday that I was talking about, yeah, so the asexual meetup went really, really well. 10 of us attended, and I got really good feedback, and one person said on Avon that I'm the best of the hosts, so that was wonderful. No Indian guys for that, incidentally. But when we went to one of the places for food to eat, I was going to the bar to order my food, and this guy came out briefly, and he was Indian, I could tell. And I'm like, oh my God, he was stunningly beautiful. And I said to the guy who was serving me, I said, oh, you got an Indian guy that works here? Because I just saw someone pop out. He's like, oh yeah, we have a few. And I'm like, oh man. And that's what's, like kind of like made me feel like I really have strong attraction to Indian guys still. So yeah, it's just like natural for me. Like, I feel so excited and happy when I think about Indian guys. Time to go to India. Yeah, I don't go to India. So in case you're new to my channel, I don't fly on a plane. I don't go abroad. I am not looking for a traditional Indian guy. As I was explaining, I don't want sex because I'm asexual. I don't want marriage, don't want kids, and I'm not of Indian culture. So I need a westernized guy, ideally a British born Indian guy, or a guy who's been in the UK for a while and got his own visa and everything, because I'm not interested in being a housewife to a guy, anything like that. I want to live separately, which is what I was talking about a few minutes ago. I'd love to go to India. Oh, bless you, Lightshade. Yeah, it's a 14-hour flight from where I live. And I don't fly on a plane. I've got a phobia of it. And obviously, I believe if an Indian guy wants to be with me, he will come over here to be with me because he will be stronger. I won't need to go over there. And I'm not, like I said, I'm very different to Indian culture. I'm not into sex, marriage, or kids. I'm not interested in being a housewife or anything like that. I need an independent Indian guy who is a free thinker and doesn't care about what his family, community, and all that think in terms of he'll do what he likes. And, obviously, it's nice to have a kind, caring guy towards his family and friends. I don't mean that. But I mean, there's a lot of guys in India which will abide by traditional Indian rules and won't bring shame on the family, worry about what the family says, do what the family says. If the family say get married to this girl, they'll get married to this girl and they'll do all that. I want a guy who's very independent from his parents and his family, and who his family doesn't mind him marrying whoever he chooses. Or in my case, I don't want to get married, so they'd be happy for him to not have marriage, Yes, I agree. That should be the main reason for a relationship: appreciation and support. Oh, thank you, Lightshade. Yeah. Yeah. It's really important. It should be appreciation and support. Because a lot of the time, for me personally, the traditional dated marriage, for example, or relationship model is very outdated. It's very outdated. It's not suitable for modern living, it's based on sex, marriage, kids living together and all that traditional stuff, and I just don't like that. I think it's much better you live in separate places, have your own bills, pay for your own food, and then you literally can focus on the relationship when you're together, like the appreciation for each other, the support, the emotional support, the looking after each other's hearts, the going out on dates, doing laugh out loud, yes, brilliant, going out on dates together, like just having fun, right? Do you recommend any true ace romantic movies? I've done loads of movie reviews on this channel which are no sex movies. I don't go for ace films as such. I go for ones that don't have any sex in them whatsoever. So, but they might not be classed as ace movies. Because I don't watch any movies that specifically have asexual characters in them. There's Frozen I like, which obviously one of the characters of Frozen, she's rumoured to be asexual, an aromantic asexual. But obviously, she's not romantic. But yeah, so I don't actually, or haven't actually watched any specific movies that are asexual movies as such. I only watch movies on disc or go to the cinema. I don't watch Netflix. I did have a Netflix account from someone else who lent me their account for a while, but I don't watch the TV at all. So I would recommend, if you want movies without any sex in them, to go through my no sex movie reviews, of which there is tons of them. I've got more movie reviews to do because I went to cinema this morning, so I watch a lot of animation. But obviously, I like the Step Up movies, but they're not asexual movies. The covers are very sexual in behaviour. but there's no sex. There's no sex in them. So all the step-up dance movies, they're all really romantic. They got no sex in them, but obviously they got sexual behaviour with the way they dance together and look at each other sometimes, and the front covers mostly. But a lot of it, is just like, I like those type of things because I like that type of relationship. I'm quite happy doing sexy dancing, close contact dancing without clothes on, but not having sex ever. So for me, that would be an asexual, romantic, sexy movie without the sex, if you know what I mean. But definitely go through the playlist on my channel because there's absolutely loads of movies that I've reviewed, tons of them. But I like all the step-up movies. They're really nice. And like I said, Frozen, one of the characters is meant to be asexual in there, but they're an aromantic asexual, not a romantic asexual. But there's still a romantic thread going through with their sister, because her sister has got a romantic relationship going on. So yeah. But I'm trying to keep clear of particularly romantic movies at the moment because I'm on trying to de-hyper romanticize myself, which isn't working very much because I'm just talking about Indian guys anyway on this channel. Because like I said, I wanted to do a special for Indian guys because I've got a lot of Indian guys that watch this channel, and people keep asking me, why do you like Indian guys? And as I've explained throughout this whole video, which I've been doing for a long time live, as you know, I have basically my most attractions for Indian guys. Yeah, it's got to be fair. Yeah. I think, in a relationship, everything has to be as fair as possible. But some people might prefer to do one thing rather than the other. Like some, like I said, there's some guys who like cooking more than women do. I don't like cooking. But yeah, only Indian guys. So I specifically, my top attraction is for Indian guys, and I believe in reincarnation. I believe in past life. This is my personal experience and beliefs, and I believe I was with an Indian guy in a past life, and I'm meant to be with one in this life. I have been attracted, and I do get attracted to guys who aren't Indian as well. But last year I had my heart broken by two guys, one of whom was Indian, one of whom wasn't, and I loved both of them at different times. So I was shocked that I could love someone who wasn't Indian that much. But I'm still getting over that. So I just Lightshade, I've got to dash for a phone call. Much love. I'll catch the rest of your vid later. Oh, thank you, Lightshade. Lots of love. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming on. Yeah. So but yes, Indian guys are my top attraction, and I'm meant to be with an Indian guy. I believe I have the most attraction for them: aesthetic, romantic, spiritual, intelligence attraction, clothes attraction, sensual attraction, spiritual attraction. I've gone through all of them, so if you missed those on the video and how I get attracted in those ways to Indian guys, then don't forget to catch up with them. Yeah. So, but yeah, I just have the most attraction and the most connection emotionally and spiritually with Indian guys. Like, even if an Indian guy comes in my inbox and I don't know him, I'll instantly feel connected to him. It's really bizarre. But I do think sometimes Indian guys can get a bad reputation, and I want people to know that some Indian guys are really nice guys, really kind, caring, and there are Indian guys that do go against their societal norms. Because I've got friends on that, like I said earlier, I've just got a guy who connected to me who's not asexual, who said he's straight, but he supports LGBT plus people because he doesn't care what conservatives think, was his word. He doesn't care what people think because he's strong like that. He's very strong, so he doesn't care what people think. And, he supports people anyway, which I thought was really nice. There is another Indian guy friend I've got like that, but he had some problems with harassment, and so he changed his profile. He deactivated that profile, got a new one, and he's not been the same since, really. He doesn't promote asexual stuff. He still promotes my stuff, but not usually the asexual stuff much anymore, which is a shame, really. So, he seems to have changed that way. Lightshade, I like Indian food and hair. Indian guys that I've met are good at cooking. Guys that cook are great. Yes, Lightshade, I'm glad you're still here. Yes, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I hate cooking, but if a guy wants to do that for me, it'd be great because I hate cooking. and I don't want to be doing that for a guy. If he came over to my place, he can cook and clean and wash up after himself. But I said, I personally think that guys are overall are better at cooks than women are. Personally, that's my personal opinion. And that I know a lot of Indian guys who do actually like cooking. So I said one of the things that I would find good, is if an Indian guy wanted to find different dishes to cook for me and make sure they're allergen free, because I can't usually have Indian food because I've got so many food allergies and tolerances that I can't have a lot of Indian food. I so agree, guys who watch sport are awful and aggressive. Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah. I hate sport. And I've got a diploma in information advice and guidance. And I did a PETLS teacher training qualification as well. So I'm actually a qualified teacher and advisor. And when I was doing the information advice and guidance diploma, we had to do this group work. And one of these people was doing some like teaching on sport. And their first question was like, so who here likes sport? Everyone, I'm guessing. And I was like, no, I don't. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, no, I hate it. And I was the only person in the whole room that hated it. I can't stand it. My ex was into sport, and it's just like so boring to me. Like watch a football go duh, 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 duh. And yeah, I'm really not into that. But yeah, Indian hair is beautiful. I love a guy's hair. Indian hair is so gorgeous. You put your fingers through it, run your fingers through it, and it's just so beautiful. Like chestnut brown hair. It's really, really amazing. And so I like a lot about Indian guys, and I just find them the most attractive, and I get heavily criticised for it sometimes, but I don't care. You can't help who you're attracted to, and at the end of the day, I'm attracted to Indian guys, so it is what it is, isn't it? And and I think it's nice for Indian guys to have some support, because sometimes they do get a really bad reputation or bad rap, and so I'm on Quora, which is a forum, well-known forum, and there's like Indian guys there, and the ones on there are like asking questions like, can a British woman ever love an Indian guy and stuff like that, do British women ever like Indian guys, and I feel like shouting, yes, I do, and I was like, am I the only British girl who likes foreign guys, younger foreign guys, particularly Indian? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's quite interesting, but I hope one day that my Indian asexual soulmate just turn up. I think he's Indian, and I think he's asexual. I believe he's definitely Indian. I believe. Although, obviously, from what happened last year, it's possible I have a soulmate who's not Indian, but I still believe I would have an Indian soulmate anyway, regardless of if I ended up with someone who wasn't Indian. I still know I had an Indian soulmate somewhere in the world. I just know that, believe that 100%. So yeah, so anyway, I hope you found this video very useful, helpful, insightful. I hope you understand why I like Indian guys so much now. If you've got any questions, comments, queries, please post them down below. If you're asexual Indian guy, I'm not actively looking for dating relationship, but you can find me, emails in the description. But I am not actively going after Indian guys anymore. So yeah, and I'm still healing at the moment, to be honest. So, and I need an Indian guy in the UK, not one abroad. So it's better I heal first before I get into a relationship at all, to be honest, and focus on my career for the next 1, 2, up to 5 years. It's really important to me. But I can't help being attracted to Indian guys. I want to kiss one and be with one and cuddle one and hug one, and oh my god, it's getting a bit like hyper romanticism. It's really strong at the moment for Indian guys. It's like, oh man, so bad. bad. It's good if you find the right person. If you don't, it's not so good. But anyway, I'm gonna love you and leave you for now. I love Indian guys so much. Lots of love to my Indian fans. I adore you. Love you to bits. You're beautiful. Never forget it. And I know a lot of Indian guys as well. One thing I forgot to say, I find a lot of Indian guys are very sensitive and very emotional. Some write poetry, and I love that about them. I love the fact that a lot of Indian guys are very sensitive, emotional, and caring. you know, and they have deep emotions. I think they're more emotional than a lot of foreign guys that come across, or more emotional than a lot of ethnicities. I still meet some other foreign guys that are emotional, but I'd say the majority of the ones that I meet are Indian specifically, and they seem a lot more emotional. They can emotionally connect with me really easily, I think, more than other people usually as well. Or I can connect with them more emotionally than a lot of others. But yes, so yeah. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now before I keep smiling anymore about Indian guys. And I'll see you on the next video live stream. I hope you enjoyed this very special Indian fan edition of Asexualise, My Asexual Life. If you're Indian, please give it a thumbs up. Even if you're not Indian, but you want to support this channel, please give the video a thumbs up. If you just wanted to know why I love Indian guys so much, you never really knew all the things, and you just saw I randomly plucked it out of some thin air and I had no substance to why I liked them, then you know now from watching this video all the reasons why I do. So please give it a thumbs up. I think it's deserving of that. And for any other reason you want to give a thumbs up, please do. It helps raise awareness of this channel, of course, Asexuality. Anyway, I look forward to live streaming again and having you here. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live. Right now, I'll post a new video. And don't forget to grab a copy of Asexual Perspectives on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Waterstones. I talk about my asexual Indian soulmate in here as well. Take care, lots of love. Bye. Bye.